We told you our plans for building General Granite, or was it Corporal Stone, or Sergeant, forget the silly names. It's one big military truck with a new tour of duty, Xtreme style. We'll crush some cars, douse some flames, and turn this 6x6 into one massive 4x4.
We've been thinking that we need to build a really big four-wheel drive truck. Like, not a monster truck or something that's impractical or unattainable, something that anyone could build. It's got to be something that's affordable so anyone can buy it, something you can drive on the street every single day. And we thought the best way to do that would be to go out and get a really big truck and make it just a little bit smaller. For more than 50 years, there's been one military vehicle that's carried more troops and supplies around than any other, and that is the 2.5-ton 6x6. 6x6 means that you've got power to all the wheels under the truck at one time. One steering Rockwell up front and two top loaders in the rear mean that you have true six-wheel drive, keeping this monster moving.
I think we need to rotate the tires, get some flat spots.
A 5-speed standard shift transmission and a full-time 6-wheel drive transfer case capable of high or low range. This Deuce and a half can deliver the goods anywhere they're needed.
Does the horn work?
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
it does work! Governments commissioned these vehicles to serve many different purposes in the military, from troop transport, fuel delivery, cranes, even guided missile launchers, or fire trucks like ours.
So will this run on just about anything?
It's got 3 fuels you can run this truck on. You can run this truck on straight diesel, like a military-grade diesel.
Right.
You can run it on military gasoline or military kerosene. Well, military gasoline is about the same as just like regular unleaded gasoline, but you cannot put the aviation fuel in it. That's the only thing you can't put in it.
Nah.
But everything else you can. Makes it easier. They did that to make it simpler to fill up, like on the bases in combat.
Right, right.
There we go. The first Deuce and a half was manufactured back in 1940, and with more than 800,000 units built, it's easy to see why the 6x6 is easily recognized as a military truck. Now you're probably wondering what something like this is going to cost. Well, you can pick up a used 6x6 from anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000. We got ours from Boyce Equipment in Ogden, Utah. Now, Boyce is a military salvage yard specializing in repurposing vehicles like our 6x6 for civilian use. They have complete used rigs. They also have turnkey rigs that have been built into things like snow plows or fuel transports. And they've even got parts if you're restoring one that you've already bought. Yeah, it's big, but more importantly, it's cool. Now, there's one thing I gotta do before we roll this truck into the shop. You see, every morning our fat cat, overpaid underwork producer,
no pictures, okay? Just
parks his Dodge Neon in the middle of the parking lot. That ends today. Now the plan for this truck is simple. We're going to create what's called a bobbed Deuce. Now to do that, all we have to do is remove the rear Rockwell axle, and we end up not having a 6x6 anymore, just a really big 4x4. Now guys do this all the time. It's a little bit of investment of money to end up with a really cool one-of-a-kind truck. Now the hardest part of the job on this truck is going to be cutting off that firebox.
Time to go down on the ground. What's next, man?
All right, we got to unbolt these front mud flaps.
Okay.
No torches because we don't want to wreck them. I'm going to climb up inside. I'm going to unbolt the main feed from the tank that goes in the pump, and then we should be ready to lift it all off.
All right, I'll get the other side.
It doesn't look complicated in there at all. Going down slowly. Just lower yours down and see what happens. See if it'll take them.
Up next, no, it's not a Village People audition. Ian's got that gig wrapped up. He's all dressed up to see if our pumper still pumps. Stay tuned.
We're back with our stripped down 530C Deuce, which received an honorable discharge after only 12,000 miles and 550 hours of service. Now, these military fire trucks are rare, especially ones in good shape like ours. We surgically removed the pump, firebox, and water tank, which are all spoken for someone else's resto. But before we tore this steel soldier down, we had to see if the heart of this rescue ranger could still pump some H2O. I'm a fireman! Now when it comes to fire trucks, not a lot has changed over the years.
How's it going, guys?
Let's flow some water, man. That's why we knew our buddies down at fire station number 5 would know exactly how to get our old girl pumping some water. Wait, before we start, important question. Is there a pole in there that we can like slide down? You don't have a pole? This ain't no fire station, they got no pole.
Y'all could build us one.
Pressure's on, here we go.
I think there's a small leak. All right, we know what that one does.
Our truck can do more than deliver water straight from the hydrant. Once the water tank is full, we can divert it into the pump.
We'll need a reducer to take it down to 1 3/4 inches.
We'll engage the PTO, idle up the motor, and have massive pressure flowing out of our fire hose.
It pumped pretty good for a whole truck.
Look at that, I'm a fireman. Now, ever since I was a little boy, I always thought being a fireman was the coolest job in the world. And I teach my son, do not play with matches. And believe it or not, here at Xtreme, we're even 100% smoke-free.
I said no smoking.
I can't even see him.
Kids don't smoke.
Taking it for the team. Now with all the fire truck parts out of the way, you can really get an idea of how these tandem axles work on the back of these old military trucks. Now you've got the drive shaft coming into the front part of the top loader and the front axle, and there's a flange on the backside with a second drive shaft that then delivers power back to the rear axle. And that's how you end up with the 6-wheel drive. Now we don't need that because we're just building a big 4x4. So we're going to go ahead and temporarily support this front Rockwell. We'll remove this rear drive shaft as well as all the suspension, and then we'll cut this frame right at this cross member.
Hey Chris, where are you going?
We're about to show you what we're planning on putting in the back of that thing.
Right on. Now what a lot of people do when they're bobbing these Deuces is they use an existing truck bed. Now that bed comes off an M101 or an M105 military trailer. And I'm sure you've seen them because they're usually pulled by these trucks. They're about 7 feet across, 9 feet long, very square, very military looking. Now we're not going to do that. We're going to build a custom bed. It's going to be similar to one of those military trailers, but it's going to be designed to haul a very special cargo. We figured since the Suzuki is the smallest truck we'd ever built, we'd size the bed perfectly to fit this truck into the biggest truck we've ever built. Oh yeah! Now for the perimeter of our truck bed, we're going to be using this 2x4 1/8-inch wall rectangular tubing. Now the 2x4 design will give us that military style that we're after, while the 1/8-inch wall will make it strong enough to handle the weight of our Suzuki. We will start with the perimeter or floor of our bed. It's going to measure 7 feet wide and 9 feet long, with miters at the front corners to give us a clean look.
What do we got?
98.
98?
We're gonna go ahead and move this axle back about 6 inches, and then we'll make a wheel well once it's set in position, so the tires have room to move. But yeah, we'll cut that after we set that distance. So let's set this rear crosser. This is the bottom, okay? This also, because it's the 2x4, it's 2x4 on the side, so when it comes down here and gets kicked up for the tires, it looks like a fender well. See, that's how those beds are designed.
That's where I was thrown off, is just the straight piece without the wheel wells.
You could cut that out and make a wheel well, but that's just silly.
Why is it silly?
Because how would you know it's perfectly square if you cut out in the middle of this?
Measure where the new axle's gonna be.
Yeah, but no, what I'm saying is you can build a giant rectangle like this, make sure this is a perfectly square box, right? Weld it up, and then come in here and clip out one side at a time to build your fender. That way you don't lose any of the structure on the rest of the bed.
Okay.
Whereas if you just come down here and you take this piece and end it in no man's land and then throw an angled piece up to come up and then a top and go down, and you got a piece hanging up in the air and you got nothing to support it. And is it square? Is it not square? You don't really know. And then you come up here. If you just build a big box like this and then clip it out for the wheels, it's easier. It's more structurally sound while you work on it.
Okay, I see your point.
3 cross braces are added to mount the bed to the truck's frame. We'll use the stock mounting locations from the fire bed. Then we'll reset the wheelbase of the truck. We're going to stretch it 6 inches and then build the wheel well to match the angle of the front fender. The top lip of the bed is slightly narrower, just for a clean look, and is made from some 2x2 tubing. Now we have the basic skeleton of our bed all in place, and we still have to do some finished pieces on here. We got to put a floor in it. We're probably going to use some expanded metal so any mud or gunk will fall off the Suzuki onto the ground. We'll just fill in the sides with some sheet metal, and we still need to build a tailgate. Now there's one issue we have to deal with. Our bed is 9 feet long. The wheelbase on our Suzuki is right around 10 feet. So that means that we're going to have to build the tailgate so it can drop down and carry the weight of the rear axle of our Zoot. It's not a big deal. We just have to make sure that we have beefy mounts up here as part of the bed. But before we finish weld or go any further, we want to go ahead and try our tires and wheels in here and make sure we got lots of room when the suspension compresses.
You're watching Xtreme 4x4. For a DVD copy of this episode, just go to PowerBlockTV.com and order your copy for just $5.95 plus shipping and handling. Start your own Xtreme 4x4 collection, delivered right to your door from the Power Block.
Now, since we're converting this 6x6 over to a big 4x4, obviously we need some large off-road tires to make it look right. Now, these are Michelin X Series tires, and believe it or not, even though they look brand new, these are military timed out tires, which will work perfectly considering our truck is an ex-military truck. Now, what happens is the military determines these tires are out of use because of their age, and then they offer them up for salvage. Now, salvage dealers buy them and then sell them again to the public. And we got ours from Dollarman, and he specializes in repurposing tires and wheel packages like this, as well as building Bob Deuces, so we know that these are perfect for our truck. Now, not only will they look great on our truck opposed to the stock ones, the 50-inch tall tire that fits on a 20-inch rim sells for less than $100 a piece. So even if you're just throwing some Rockwells underneath your buggy, they are a great deal. More importantly to us, they came off heavy-duty troop transport vehicles, so they're designed to handle the weight of our 6x6. And the wheels, they're something special too. Now, just like our tires, the wheels are timed out military items as well. Now, they start life as what's called a HEMTT wheel. Now, that is a heavy, expanded mobility tactical truck. Now, that is a huge 5-ton military truck that has 4 axles on it. You've probably seen them out in the military today doing everything that the 6x6 used to do. Now, they are a 10-lug wheel. So what Dollarman does is machine out the center of the wheel and then have a new center cut with the Rockwell 6-bolt pattern to bolt into place. Now, they are a true 2-piece wheel, and they are incredibly strong and incredibly heavy. How heavy? Well, 4 wheels, 4 tires for this truck, 2,000 pounds. Well, there you go, guys. To say that this truck has undergone a huge transformation would be an understatement. We've gone from a 6-wheel drive fire truck to a huge 4-wheel drive truck sitting on 50-inch tall tires. And the nice thing is, we didn't spend a lot of money to get to this point. Now, the next time we got the truck in the shop, we'll take care of some odds and ends. We got to fix that battery box as well as some damage from when we crushed that car. We'll sheet that bed, maybe throw the Zook in the back, go for a drive.